We are back at our micro injection site the next day, and we have had reports from her having checked on them during the time that almost all of the caps, except for one, went up within 18 hours. And so when she got up early this morning to check, they were all gone except for one. And what I did, when I arrived here, I took my striker, and it was a full merit. There had been no absorption whatsoever, and yesterday during application I didn't pop the septum, so I hit it one more time gently, saw the bubbles in the barrel, which is one of the telltale signs. That's why this is a two-man operation. You got one guy applying and you got one guy watching for the bubbles. I said, you just can't stay up here and hit your striker and watch for the bubbles all at one time. And so, use your personnel wisely. Always program in the cost of a return visit unless you bargain with the homeowner to pull them themselves. And if there's nothing toxic, that might be acceptable. Otherwise, you're going to need to come back, and had I not come back here, I wouldn't have been able to reseat that last capsule, and within 20 minutes it was up. And so now let me get my protective gear on. I've got my hard hat with my shield. I've got my latex gloves that I've got to work at to get them on and get them seated real good. And I've got long sleeves on. Got my knee pads and shorts covering my legs. And the recommended extraction technique is twist and pull with one hand, shading the other hand like this, to prevent any kind of spray back, because you've got a pressurized capsule. I've got a toothbrush that I'm going to use to apply an after wound dressing. It's a mixture of a couple of home brews. If you want to know about this, just ask us and we'll tell you how to mix it up. We give it to the customer. It's a part of the service, and my bag comes in my capsule, and we're going to use this. So now we don't have much time. We're on the clock. You got a couple of guys and equipment tied up. They're on the way to another job, and so they come by, they evaluate, they count the caps, and make sure that they record that they've been taken up 100%. Now we're going to pull them. We've got 18 capsules. I've taken my inventory. It's 7 Systrex, 7 of another, and 6 of another. I've written it all down. I've got it recorded. I'm going to pull this out like so. I've got my mixture here, and this really works good. I'm just going to put it right here for the time being. That's non-toxic, by the way. It'll burn you a little bit, but it's not a poison. This was the capsule that I had to strike this morning with an extra tap, and it's seated, and as you can see, it's all the way up. I have no evidence of leakage. I think I'm in good shape. I'm going to work my way around the tree, pull that out, put that in, and what we recommend is the owner come out here and do this every other day for a couple of weeks until the mixture that we've given them is exhausted. And by then the tree will have already begun to compartmentalize and heal itself up. Okay, I've got a cap stuck there, so I have, in preparation for that, brought a pair of little small crescent wrench. I'm gonna grab it and pull it out. And it has not collapsed, it's still in good shape, but I just had to hit it a little hard to get it seated, and I had 100% uptake. You can see by looking at these layers that that's how far we have to make sure to seat this cap so that it's got a solid shoulder to break the septum and then draw the rest of the material into the injection site. One quick note, there's a couple ways you can put this type of treatment together to make it cheaper for you and your customer, and that is when they pull the caps. And you must remember that if you want them to do that, you have to be prepared at the time of injection and application to give them a container that you have prepared especially for them for the wound dressing, a pair of latex gloves, and a written set of instructions that tells them to get a toothbrush to scrub it into the wound and apply it every other day until the material is been exhausted. And so once you've done that, you've got your caps in a bag right here that you're going to dispose of in the properly regulated manner. This has merit in it, the rest of it is harmless. We treated it like we didn't want any of it on us anyway. We don't care whether it has a caution or a warning label on it. We don't want it to get in contact with our skin and endanger any of our workers. And so we promoted this as a technique. This is systemic application. If you're committed to the idea of cheap to keep, if you're committed to the idea of turning over responsibility for the tree's operation to the trees themselves, then this is the way we do it. We don't expose the environment. It stays within the enclosed system of the tree, and this is the way to the future. This is green and growing. Now, many people have asked me, they don't like this method of treatment because it puts holes in the tree. Here's another one right here. It puts holes in the tree. We don't like it either, but it's only 13/64 inches around. I'm going to go around and show you a few more. Here's some right here. And I'm using a special homebrew that I'm putting in a recycled dishwashing liquid bottle. We have it properly labeled so you couldn't confuse it for anything else. And I'm going around and I'm going to use this. Now, if you don't have a special homebrew, what you need to do is just log on to our website and ask us what this is. We'll be glad to tell you, but until that time, hydrogen peroxide is a very good solution. Here's one right here. Here's another one. Here's one. And we're going around. Here's one. Here's another one. And these holes will heal up. It takes time, especially if the tree is compromised. Now, we're going to give you an overall of this tree in a picture-in-picture so that you'll know what we're talking about. We felt like the tree was enough at risk that we ought to do this, even if it meant invading it with some holes and damaging it a little bit, because it's very close to the house. As you can see, I'm going to make sure that this is disinfected. This is a special brew that I put together, and it works real good. We've experimented with it, but like I say, if you don't have this and you don't know how to mix it up, you don't want to talk to us, then use hydrogen peroxide. It'll work just as well. Almost just as well. I'd use it instead if I didn't have this. And then I'm around here. I've got another hole there. And as you can see, this tree is doing good. Now, we're being called back for an inspection because these holes started bleeding. And the reason they're bleeding is the tree is compromised. It has some fungal and insect problems that we talked about. It also has some very, very poor soil that consists of as much as a 6 to 12 inch layer of silt sand that has no value whatsoever, and it's also right beside a lightning struck tree. And so as we step back and you look at the overall, you'll see that the little bit of damage we did here is small price to pay for saving this tree, and you're going to see some dieback on the newest branches that came out, and that is a telltale sign that we've got compromise, we've got root damage, that we've got problems, and we did everything we could with the micro injection process and this after treatment to cure that.